Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. This is where we talk about NFL and college, and this one's going to be about the Tush push. So that's why the Eagles get the shirt. I'm not an Eagles homer. Whoever I'm talking about basically gets the shirt, and shirts end up on the wall too. Okay, so the Tush push. This is obviously a controversial thing right now in the NFL, and again with the Eagles-Rams game, there's some footage of a couple Eagles lineman or one of the guards firing off early, and it was a false start, but it's not called. And okay, so we're getting to the point where this discussion is not going away, and no one seems to have a good answer for it. Some people, obviously it went to a vote and it passed by a couple of votes to not ban it with the competition committee. Maybe this is all a moot point and it's going to get banned next year. I don't like this idea of banning plays just because we don't really know what to do with it. But on the other hand, over the last number of years, couple of decades, you could even say, the NFL has taken steps and changed rules to make the game more, I guess, appealing on TV. Some of it is player safety stuff like the kickoff thing, but some of it is just changing rules that actually makes it more difficult on the defense and trying to promote scoring, trying to promote offense. If you pay attention to college football, you'll notice there's way more scoring. The games are more volatile. You get scores in the 50s sometimes in college, all the way into the 60s. Like it's pretty chaotic in college, which kind of makes it really fun to watch because you sort of don't really know what's happening. But in the NFL, the talent on all the teams is so much closer. The best and the worst team in the NFL are still usually only, the betting line still maybe a touchdown, whereas in college you can have betting lines of 40 points. And that's because some teams got guys that are going to the NFL and some teams have guys who are never going to play again after college. So they don't really need to do anything to make the games more exciting in college, whereas in the NFL, the defenses are all so good, the offenses start to get like neutralized and the excitement level is like, I want to see something more exciting, more scoring. Over time, the point is, over time, they have made changes for the sake of the entertainment value of the game on TV. And given that the ratings are at all-time highs, the revenue's at all-time highs, its popularity is all-time highs, it's hard to say that the NFL's made any of the wrong decisions along the way. Like, whoever's the final say and however they come up with it, it all seems to always keep making the NFL more popular, more people watch, and it makes more money. So this kind of brings us back to the Tush push. What's the right move here for a play that, from an aesthetic standpoint, it's nothing to watch. And from the excitement standpoint, it feels completely inevitable that it's going to work. And that's another thing that's like less interesting to watch in all of sports when you just know something's going to happen. It's kind of like the extra point. They moved it back because it was 98% conversion on the old extra point. So they moved it back just to make it a little bit more, we're not really sure what's happening. Otherwise, you're already up getting a snack, getting a drink, because you just don't care. You know the extra points, it's pointless. There's just no point in watching it. So this play here is almost pointless to watch because you just know they're just going to get it. Like, why even bother watching? It's predetermined. So there is an argument to say it's just not fun to watch. Now, I don't like this idea of banning actual plays. And in this particular case, and I think Jason Kelsey said this on he was on an interviewer's podcast, it's not the push. It's not somebody pushing the quarterback that's even that they're talking about here. It's the firing off the line that everyone's talking about. Because if you just didn't push him, I think all of this would still work. He basically just sort of floats over the line anyways. Yeah, maybe the push helps a bit, but that's not the part that they're complaining about. They're complaining about potential false starts. So that has nothing to do with actually pushing the quarterback. So again, banning the pushing doesn't stop them from false starting. If false starting is the thing that everyone's complaining about. Now, maybe they won't line up in this formation as often if they can't shove the quarterback, but I would maintain it would be effective with or without somebody shoving the quarterback. Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be as effective because sometimes maybe some momentum he is getting from being pushed along he wouldn't have, but I maintain it's mostly the line. The line is creating the push, and then he's just following the line, whether or not someone's shoving him. So I don't even think that part matters. If you ban the push part, they can still run this exact play with almost the same effectiveness and just don't shove them. So then it comes down to what's happening with the linemen and on both sides of the ball. So the detractors who don't want to see this happen anymore will say two things. It's not fun to watch. It's inevitable. They're gonna gain yards every single time, which somehow is unfair, even though everyone else could just try to run it and study the tape and eventually just practice it to the point where you're doing a version of it yourself. I know the Bills run a relatively effective version, but most teams aren't as good at it as the Eagles. And this bullshit because Jalen Hurts squats a bunch of weight. When you watch, half the time he's barely even pushing. It's not him shoving the line forward. The line's doing the work, and he's just kind of coasting along. So there's nothing to do with how strong his legs are. And guys like Josh Allen and some of the other big quarterbacks, they're really strong too. So it's not that. It's not just because his legs are strong. And if it really is the pushing, then it really has nothing to do with his legs because it's somebody else shoving him along. So it's not that. It's somehow they've perfected the pattern with the linemen to create like a spearhead thing, and no defense has quite figured out how to combat that. So the detractors will say, well, that's because they're firing off the line early and it's a false start. And if you beat the man to the point, yeah, it's going to work every time. Like, there's no other offensive play where you can just false start whenever you feel like it. So why can you false start on this one? Then the counter argument you'll hear from the Eagles and the Eagles linemen, like I was just reading an article from Mailata, is that defenses are now trying to mimic Jalen Hurts' cadence and induce the false starts. So his opinion is, oh, we never false start on purpose. It's only because the defense is inducing us. And I think, okay, maybe that's happening sometimes, and maybe the actual truth is somewhere in between. They false start sometimes on their own, and maybe sometimes the defense induces them. I find it hard to believe every single time they false start is purely an inducement from the defense. But, I haven't seen any breakdown of every single play and a way to prove that or not prove it. And in the article, they were explaining the refs are too far away to really hear that inducement. And that's a 15-yard penalty if they call it. So the refs are super reluctant to call that play, to call that penalty, saying a defensive lineman was mimicking Hurts' cadence in an effort to cause one of the linemen to false start. And if that's the case, and this is and I know this play is used everywhere on the field, but this play is designed to gain a yard, and then if you've induced them and they false start, now you're awarding them 15 yards, which makes it an even more impossible play to stop. It makes it virtually a guarantee every single time. If it's true, and you believe Mailata that they never false start on their own, or maybe he didn't say that, but the idea is when they false start more often than not, it's because they're being induced, and that should be called. But football stadiums are loud. Refs can't necessarily hear it, and it's such a severe penalty. The refs essentially just never call it. So then, later in the article, the Eagles say, well, we practice it. In practice, we have our scout team actually doing the inducement thing, and we like mimicking another team trying to induce a false start and mimic Jalen Hurts' cadence, so they get used to this happening. So they practice dealing with that, what the article says. Okay. And then in the Chiefs game, within the article, they said the Chiefs did this and actually forced one or got them to false start. And then on the other side, people will say, and the defense is lined up in the neutral zone on every single one of these plays. And it's true. Every single time they line up in this, no matter who's on the other side of the field, it's just clear as day they're in the neutral zone. I mean, every guys' helmets are literally crisscrossing. There's the idea that the width of the ball is the neutral zone is just completely out the window. And anyone who watches this, and this isn't just with the Eagles. Any team that lines up all condensed like that for a QB sneak and or their version of the tush push, it's like the officials have just given up on the idea of a neutral zone. So it's okay that everyone's in the neutral zone. Maybe even some of the offensive linemen are too far ahead too. It's just the entire play is illegal on both sides of the ball, like kind of at all times. It's just a ridiculous situation where the rules are out the window. So on one side of this, you could say the Eagles are false starting. And on the other side of this, you could say that the defense is lined up in the neutral zone on every play. And then you could also say maybe the defense is inducing the false starts. So where do you go with this? Like, and no matter what you try to do about it, if you pull on, no matter what thread you pull on, the whole sweater could come unraveled if you try to solve this. So my only thought is make a false start reviewable. And then, okay, now if you pull on that thread, what are we going to say? Every single false start on every play is now reviewable? And yeah, it could be, because if it's a false start, it's a false start. And this includes offensive tackles who get that like kick, step, jump early thing. Those are all false starts. And then you're just going to, and it won't take long for teams to start practicing in a way that they're not false starting anymore. Otherwise, you just call it. And the irony or the hypocrisy there is, if you're going to argue, oh, well, then it's going to slow the game down because we are reviewing every play for a false start. Well, when tush push and goal line stands and QB sneaks in that condensed formation, let's set those aside. Just somewhere in the middle of a game, when a team is lined up and it's maybe an obvious passing down, and a guy just flinches, like it just takes like just this or just that, and that's a false start. And we've all seen it. So if they're going to be that picky on that tiny of a movement now, like already now, and then and on just a random play, and not a goal line stand like this, but a random play, and now on a play as significant as all of these fourth down tush push things, and those just we just can't see it. It's happening too fast, so they just happen. So to me, making a false start a reviewable play, or something a coach can challenge, I guess, like they can challenge it. To me, that's the only way to solve this problem without banning the play. So the Eagles can still run it. Every other team is free to run it too. It's just the Eagles have mastered it. Many teams try some kind of version of it. They're just not very good at it. And the defenses that can't line up in the neutral zone, like actually call it for real. Like follow the actual rules. You can't line up in the neutral zone. You can't false start. If it looks like they false start, let the opposing team have a quick look at it, and then, oh yeah, pull out the challenge flag. Yeah, it looked like a guy went early. To me, that's the solution. Now, but again, you could if you pull on that thread, and then all of a sudden all false starts are challengeable. So I don't know. Maybe you only can. I don't know. Maybe you have a limited number of challenges. Something. I don't know. There's got to be a way to deal with this without totally banning it, because if you ban it and you pull on that thread, well, how many more plays is the NFL going to ban just for the sake of what it looks like on TV? So, I mean, I don't really know the way out of this one. That's the best I can come up with, is this idea of making it a challengeable play, a false start, and you can't really say only on a goal to go situations or only 4th and 1 situations. I don't think you can narrow it down to that. If you're going to say a false start is reviewable, then it's just reviewable. But maybe it works for this one, because on every other false start, the play's whistled dead anyway, so you just get the play over. Whereas on this one, they miss enough of it. Seems as though if they are missing false starts routinely on this play, well, that play should have never happened. It's gone. It's happened, but the whistle never blew. On these other ones that are much more obvious, where a tackle just moves a little too quickly or just flinches, well, the play just never happens, right? And the refs catch it. It's just these, like this condensed formation that's happening so quickly where they seem to not be able to catch it, or at least in this particular case. So that's all I can come up with, unless someone's got a better. I mean, tell me in the comments, do you have a better solution for this one, like versus doing nothing about it? Doing nothing about it doesn't seem like a tenable solution, because this is just becoming more and more of an issue. And I'm sure it's only because the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and some people will say it looks like an unfair advantage. Again, it's not like every other team's banned from doing this play. None of them have mastered it. So it's everyone can try it. It's just not everyone's as good at it as the Eagles are. So, but this controversy is not going to go away, and their games get to be pretty unwatchable when the Eagles' most run play is this play. And I know there was some stat saying they've run more of these than passes, like more than 10 yards downfield, or at least at some point of the game, that was the stat. So people are finding reasons to complain about it. People are finding reasons to say it's not fun to watch. It's just ugly football, whatever. It's so aesthetics aside, the controversy is not going to go away. So something has to be done about it. So I'm just trying to come up with a way to not ban it, but somehow deal with it in a way where the Eagles will consider it fair, and anyone else who runs this play will consider it fair. And the defense, who has to deal with the Eagles and or any other team running this specific play, also feels like, okay, that was officiated fair. And if both teams can agree, all right, we know it's difficult to officiate. You've put something in place to try to make this particular play feel fair to both teams, then just leave it in the game. So that's my solution. Make it a reviewable play. I can't come up with anything else. Let me know in the comments what you think is a way to solve this one, or just leave it. Just leave it and just leave it be. I don't know. I just don't see how that's a solution. This controversy just will not go away. All right, well, that's all I got. If you're still with me here, I appreciate you checking the channel out. I know it's super tiny. We just started it last year. If you like what I got going on, I'd super appreciate you if you could give it a like and a subscribe. It'll help us grow the channel. And, let me know what you think in the comments. All right, we'll catch you later.